Hello and welcome. Janet Beckers here. Today is my very first day back at work. And I'm saying work here with inverted commas because to me, running my business is my passion. I love what I do, but it is still work. There is still a to-do list. There is still things that you need to do. So no matter how much you love what you do, there is a certain energy that is needed to be able to run your business and to meet those goals. Now, when you go on holidays, if you're like me, it takes about a week before my mind stops working. It's always going, if not going on my business and growing it, it's going on my clients' businesses, thinking about them. So it can take about a week to kind of slow down, shut down that brain. And then you have that beautiful, beautiful holiday. And I'll share with you a little bit about some of the things that's meant that I'm so relaxed at the moment. But here is a problem when you come back for that first day. No matter how much you may love what you're doing in your business, the kind of energy and the focus that you need to run your business and grow your business is so different to when you're in holiday mode, when you've got that vacation vibe going. And to me, it's a lot of times it's like, when you get in the car, you turn the engine and nothing happens. You got to kind of have a few goes before, it's sort of trying to get started, and then boom, it finally catches and you can get that energy going. So that's how it feels like for me, is just trying to rank up that energy. And so what I'm going to do here today is, it's a little bit like sort of first dayception. I'm going to talk about in my podcast here about on my first day back at work, how do you get your mind back out of vacation mode and get back into work mode on that first day and in that first week especially. So what I'm going to share with you are 7 steps that I follow, and one that I missed that would have been really, really good if I had done it. So I'm going to share with you those 7 steps that work for me, things that are really important for you to do on that very, very first day, and just a few sort of routine sort of hacks to help you to be able to hit that ground running, so you can still keep that beautiful vacation vibe for as long as you can and bring a lot of it into your day-to-day work, but you get focused and you get stuff done. Because the reality is, as much as you may want to stay in holiday mode, if you want to reach your goals and make the impact you want to do, you've got to start getting focused. So you can't leave that for too long. So that's what I'm going to do here. And because I love having steps and things for you to follow, that's what I'm going to do. So if you see my eyes go off the camera every now and then, it's because I'm looking at the notes that I took and I've got them here in my document on the computer. So I'm just apologizing to you up front. If you're watching this on the video, I'm paying attention to you. I'm just looking over at my notes so I don't forget anything. So, first of all, if you're coming over to the podcast page, where you can see the videos and the podcasts, and the audio, I've got another couple of things there for you. One is I'm just sharing some holiday snaps of some of the things that we got up to when we were on holiday, so you can kind of get a little bit of a feel of how I really like to be able to spend the perfect holiday, and share some really beautiful spots with you. And then I've also got an article, a real cheat sheet article for you. So it doesn't really matter if you prefer video or audio, or if you just want to have the highlights, it's all there for you. So that's all there on the podcast page. So now I'm going to refer back to my notes so I make sure I remember everything for you. So the things that I got up with my holiday here is, it's Christmas, New Year is a busy time. There's lots of family, lots of things happening. And then there's that beautiful period after. Now, I live on the beach. It's a 10-minute walk from my house down to one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And I live in an area where people spend a fortune every summer coming to rent holiday houses and go exploring. So come January, I very rarely go away. I just stay where I am and make the most of where we are and have a staycation. So my perfect last week and a half has been those beautiful walks down to the beach, going for swims, throwing stones, throwing sticks for the dog, going to cafes, having breakfast, spending time with my man, spending time with my kids, except my son because he's in India at the moment, and then going exploring, pretending that we're tourists and going exploring new places. And I'm really into finding beautiful places that are in the wild where I can go swimming. So we've found some really beautiful swimming holes, a natural infinity pool, beautiful waterfalls, kayak places you can only get to by kayaking or by boat, and all that we could do as half-day trips and whole-day trips from where I live. So you can see why I don't want to leave. The nice part about that is it really gets you into that beautiful cycle, that vibe of, you know, going outside, doing things healthy, sleeping in the middle of the day, cocktails in the afternoon, and some pretty serious kind of Netflix binging. That beautiful winding down. So how do you bring that energy back into your first day? Okay, so this is the steps that I follow. Now, first of all, the step that I really wish that I had done, and I always planned to do it, but the reality is, if you're like, you know, I'm just like most people, where as organised as I can be, when it's leading up to a holiday, you're trying to do a gazillion things at once, and usually that last day is spent going, what aren't I going to do? So I always plan to do this, but it never makes the grade. And that is to really map out my very first day, especially, and my first couple of days, down to not just meetings, because I usually avoid making many of those, but you know, for my actual do this in the first hour, you know, so that I don't have to think. So if I had plotted out, if past Janet had really logged out exactly what Janet should do, following these 7 steps, and actually put it there in my calendar for me to look at, it would have been a lot easier. I wouldn't have had to think. So anyway, let's see if I do it next year. So that's, if you can do that, that is a fantastic thing for you to do. Assume that the person coming back from holidays is a bit thick, okay, and can't work things out for themselves. So do future you a favour and sort of spell it out for yourself for the first few days. So if you do that, follow these 7 steps to make sure that you're actually going to create the perfect first couple of days. Otherwise, these are the steps that you can follow. All right, so the very first thing that I do to, you know, get yourself back into work mode is you've got to reclaim your sleep cycles. So if you're like me, I tend to default a little bit in the holidays to sleeping in a bit longer. I might have a nap in the middle of the day, and it might go for an hour or so, and then I'll wake up and just, you know, read a little bit, and so I'll go to bed a little bit later. Now, that's just a really lovely holiday cycle to be into, but it doesn't work out too well for business. So what I find I've got to do is reclaim the holiday, you know, in your work time, and really quickly. So that means make sure you go to bed earlier the night before. I have an alarm that I have permanently set up on my phone that goes off at 9 o'clock every night I've actually named the alarm, not go to bed, I've named the alarm 3 things you're grateful for today. It's to remind myself to focus on gratitude before going to sleep. That's just what I do every day. So make sure I've set that one again, and make sure you go to bed, and then also set the alarm for the time that you need to get up in the morning and do the routines that you would normally do on a work day. So that for me setting the alarm for 5:30, and true admission, I didn't stick with it today. I sort of allowed myself to lay in bed and read for another hour or so instead of getting up and getting into it. So yeah, set that alarm and just get back into your sleep cycles. You've got to do that quick. Sounds a bit boring, but I tell you what, sleep and sleep cycles, from somebody who has consciously changed themselves from being a night owl, I've always been a night owl, to now I'm a morning person, a confirmed morning person, and that took a really concerted effort to do. And I'll find a link for you to where I've actually shared the process I did to do that. So anyway, so I know how important sleep and sleep cycles are to your productivity. So that's number 1. If you've got any tips, please come and share them with me. And I'll tell you now, a really nice thing for you to be able to do, especially if you're watching this on the video, is take a screen grab. of what you can see when I'm talking and come over and onto Instagram or Facebook, share that image with me, tag me, and share your aha or your tip. And what I'll do is I'll share those around. I'll shine the light on you and I'll share that through my Instagram story or my Facebook stories. So do that. I would really, really love that. And especially if you've got tips that work for you, or if one of these tips I share is an aha for you, absolutely, I'd love to hear from you which one really, really worked. And that will help other people who I share it with. So there you go. There's a productivity tip. Get into it, baby. Now, let me look at number 2. And this is an important one. Just cut yourself some slack for the first couple of days. And by that, I mean, a lot of times you might get back to work. You'll have a look. You might look at your inbox and go, oh, so much to do. And you'll want to hit the ground running. Don't do it, okay? You will end up getting overwhelmed. So cut yourself a little bit of slack, okay? So allow yourself a couple of days where you can sort of, wean yourself back into it. And it doesn't mean that you're just, going to go total holiday mode. That would be very nice if you can do that. But, just cut yourself some slack. So it might mean that you're going to give yourself some longer breaks, that you're not going to set yourself a ridiculous amount of to-dos, but allow yourself to wean back into it. Don't try to wean that out for a couple of weeks. Give yourself a couple of days, knowing that you're going to ramp it up. Okay, so now here is another really important one to do. And it's, if you've had a really lovely holiday, and even though for me it was a staycation, I really want to keep that vibe going. So take the things that help, that you associate subconsciously with that vacation vibe, with being relaxed, and have them around you. So for me, and I do this all year, I'm really into keeping that vibe. It probably helped because I live right near the beach. So I'll do things like making sure you've got music on that makes you feel relaxed. So music is a really important thing. I burn essential oils, things that are going to make me feel relaxed and calm, so I can keep that vibe. Little mementos, which may just be as simple as shells that you've collected, keeping those around where you're working, around your workspace. Those things are really, really important. Other things that I've put here is schedule your breaks, and then consciously set yourself some time where you go, you know what, I am actually just going to sit here and look at the things and remember my holiday, recall the vibe. Do that in a conscious way. I'm going to go into a little bit more about how you use that strategically in your business to keep that vibe. It's be mindful. Allow yourself to totally not just stay in work mode. Allow yourself to be able to keep that vibe going. Doing it in a conscious way, because it is going to make you more productive. It's going to help you to focus. It's not just escaping. So that was number 3, is about, keeping that holiday vibe, but doing it consciously. Like, take control and know why you were doing it. Now, here is one that I find really important. It's very tempting when you come back to work, is you'll check your inbox, and you may have even been, especially if you're in business, you very likely have been going back looking for anything urgent, but not really actioning too many things. Or you may have been able to cut off completely if you had other people doing things for you. Now, it's very tempting when you come back to go to your inbox and feel like you've got to go through all these to-dos. It's also to go, look, right, things I've got to do, and you start taking action, start doing stuff. That is just a fantastic way for you to get really, really overwhelmed. So what you need to do is you need to make it a planning and a catch-up day. Okay, so you want to be making it so that you're looking at the big picture, and then you're going to narrow down. So take that time to look at the things that you had delegated, the tasks that you had delegated before you went away, and just go back to make sure, is there anything outstanding? Is there anything I need to follow up what somebody was doing, or something that I haven't done? Now, instead of just going straight off and doing them, just take the time to get really clear on what needs to happen. What are the things that you looking ahead at your calendar for the next week or two, is a look ahead at what were the big meetings, the priorities, the goals, things coming up with clients. So you've got the big picture. Because if you start going straight down into the narrow, you're going to get overwhelmed. So have that big picture and take that time then to plan when you're going to do it. Now, you might be planning to do it today, That's okay, but don't just dive straight in and do it. Take that time to get the big picture and then plan down. And if you have a little bit of trouble with that, if you feel like you've just got too much and it's a bit overwhelming, I've got a really good tool for you. So the link to it, I'm just trying to think if I know the link off by heart, which I don't think I do. Try romanceyourtribe.com/chaos to clarity. Otherwise, I've got the link there for you to the free. It's a free tool. It's the thing that I use when I've got lots of things that seem really important, and I just need to really be able to take the emotion out of it and do it quickly. Work out the priorities. So I've got a really handy tool, one sheet tool that I use in my own business and my clients use. So if you're having a bit of trouble there, just working out, I can't do all this, what's the most important thing? It's a great tool. It really, really helps. Now, the next thing you want to do, step number 5, and these aren't necessarily in that order, but this one is a really top priority, is, you know what, business is about relationships, and you need to nurture those relationships. And the most important relationships you've got are the people who are on your team and your top clients. So connect with them today as a top priority. Now, that doesn't have to mean that you're going to have to allocate hours. It doesn't mean you're going to have meetings with everybody, but just either dropping them an email. It could be sending them a message. It could be sending them a short personal video. It could be going over into a support group that you use for clients and putting a post. Whatever it is, just connect and say, hi, I'm back and I'm here for you. And just letting you know, I'll contact you, I'll send you a message about the meeting that I want to have next. Or for your clients, hey, if you're ready to book in, here's the link to my schedule. Or I'm looking forward to seeing you on our call, that is this week. If it's, this week I'm resuming my VIP group huddles, coaching calls. Can't wait to see them all. So I'll let them know. So take that time to just connect, okay? Don't get so bogged down in the to-dos that you forget that the most important things in your business are relationships. Just that simple connection will make you stand out, and it's a great way to lead of your team. So don't forget to do that. So that may be the first thing that you do. But at least make sure that it's going to be, within that first half of that first day. Connect with the people, remember the relationships. Now, make the most of your relaxed time. Now, this is my tip number 6. The thing is, when you're busy in your business, we tend to work in the right side of our brain. And that's the analytical, task-focused part of our brain. And that's where we get a lot of stuff done. And you need to be there a lot. But where the real creativity in your business, the thing that makes you do things differently, that makes you really see the big picture, comes from the left side of your brain. No. Right side of your brain, got the wrong way around. You use the left side of your brain for doing all your work, and it's the right side of your brain. Yep, that's for your creativity. Sorry about that. So you're actually, when you're really relaxed, you're very likely to be spending more time in that side of your brain. And this is where you, as the leader in your business, you need to actually schedule time to do that. So you know how I mentioned earlier about taking those breaks a little bit more often on this first couple of days to actually be mindful, to meditate, to have, to be holding those things that put you into that relaxed state, and do those things that I talked about with sense. They're those sorts of things that keep you in that relaxed side, that right side of your brain. Now, the reason for this is when you're doing that, think about, it may be, is this the right way for me to approach it? Am I on the right track? Or you might be thinking about an issue or a project you've got. Just implant in your mind, hey, subconscious, you know what? Is this the best way to do it? Can I be doing it a bit differently? And just allow yourself to have that thought implanted as you're going and doing that mindfulness, that reflection, that meditation, those short periods of time that you're allowing yourself in these first few days, because your brain's already in that mode. Make the most of it. This is a very strategic way for you to be able to review what you're actually deciding to do, and you can bring some real clarity and some creativity to what you're doing. So this is a prime opportunity to be able to do that. Now, with that, what you want to be able to do is, while we're still thinking big mode before we get stuck too much down into the nitty gritty, is review your next plan. Now, depending what time of the year is, you may have your 12-month plan. If you've been working with me, you will have a 90-day plan. So what you want to do is look at your 90-day plan and ask yourself, how does it feel now when I bring back this energy and this clarity that I've got from being in this relaxed vibe? Well, you've still got it, okay? Now, for me, what normally happens, it can go one of three ways. Either I look at it and I go, you know what? Because I've been relaxed and coming back to work, because without fail, when you're coming back to work, you're thinking about, how do I feel about that? And for me, it's a natural way to connect with why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I love what I do. And I want to help a lot more people. So sometimes I will come back and I'll go, you know what, Janet, you were still planning too much in your task driven, to-do driven, too much when you were doing the 90-dayer. And I might go, you know what, you're not thinking big enough. Now, that doesn't mean I'm saying you weren't doing enough. Very often it's the other way around. It might be, you know what, you're focusing on small stuff. Do less of that. Let's focus on making a bigger impact. Sometimes that's what will happen with me. And it may happen with you as well. So this is a good time to do that. Now, the next thing that can happen is, with that beautiful calm vibe you've got, you may look at what you've planned and you've gone, oh, for heaven's sake, who do I think I am? I'm going to have to go flat out with a huge amount of adrenaline to get that stuff done. Very often this is what will happen with me, because when I'm on a roll, I'm focused, I get a lot of stuff done, but you can't keep that energy going for too long. You'll burn out. That's why entrepreneurs we need lots of breaks. We need holidays, because we're using a lot of that energy. So for me, sometimes I'll come back and go, come on, Janet, you are overcommitting yourself on what you can do. You're going to burn out. And so with that energy of, who can be bothered? It's actually a good way for you to look at what you were doing and go, what is important? What's going to make the biggest difference? What can go? Now, the third thing that can happen is you might get that beautiful Goldilocks moment where you look at your plan and it's just right. Now, if you've been using the process that I use for my end of year ritual, and then my planning process and how to create a 90-day plan. If you've been doing that because you may have read some of my articles, I'll put them down here below in the post. And also I've got my Clear Time program where I walk you through all of these steps with templates, etc. The more I follow my own process of doing that, the more that I look at the plan and it's a Goldilocks moment. And it was really nice coming back today and just reviewing what I've got, and I'm going, it's a Goldilocks moment. It's totally cool. This is exciting. So that's what I hope for you. So, but the important thing is, take the time to look at that, because that energy that you've got now is really important to be able to review what you've got coming up, bringing with it that different energy that you've got at the moment. So, don't discount it. Really respect this vibe that you've got at the moment and use that energy to look at your business differently. It's a rare opportunity. It truly, truly is. So that's for me. That's my 7 steps, and I really do hope that it helps you. And if you're seeing my eyes go off the screen, it's because I'm just making sure I haven't forgotten anything. So now over to you. I'd love to hear from you. I'm sure you've got some really good tips, some good productivity tips that will help me and will help other people as well. And there may be something that I've shared here today that might be, that's what either I knew that, but I haven't been doing it, or, I've never thought of that before. I'd love to hear from you. And a really cool way to do that is using social media. So I can shine the light on you. So a great way to do that is take a photo. So it could be a screen grab of when you're watching the podcast. That's a really great way to do it. It could be a photo of you taking a selfie. It could be something that you're using at the moment for, being back at work. Just share an image and come over onto Instagram and tag me. Or come over to my Facebook page and tag me in there and just share either your big aha or some tips that you've got. I'd love to hear that. And I'll choose out ones that are great tips and I will repost them. I'll share them on my story so everybody who's following me can see them as well. So let me shine the light on you. It's a great way to be able to interact. So I'd love to hear that from you. So that's my challenge to you. And I'm just really excited. I've got some great things planned for this year, really building on all the work that I've been doing for the last 12 months. And I'll share that with you over this next few weeks, the big lessons and some things that I'm going to be able to help you with this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. So here's to an awesome 2019, and I can't wait to really be helping you as much as I can. Okay, bye.